Find more questions and study at your own pace on our website. The link will be in the description. Let's get started. Question 1. Your network contains an on-premises Active Directory domain named corp.contoso.com. You have an Azure subscription named Sub1 that is associated to an Azure Active Directory tenant named contoso.com. You sync all on-premises identities to Azure AD. You need to prevent users who have a given name attribute that starts with test from being synced to Azure AD. The solution must minimize administrative effort. What should you use? Option A, Synchronization Rules Editor. Option B, Web Service Configuration Tool. Option C, the Azure AD Connect Wizard. Option D, Active Directory Users and Computers. The answer is option A. To prevent users with a given name attribute that starts with test from being synced to Azure AD, you should use the Synchronization Rules Editor. This tool allows you to create and manage synchronization rules, which can include attribute-based filtering. By writing an appropriate rule, you can ensure that users who meet the specific criteria are excluded from the synchronization process, thereby minimizing administrative effort. Question 2. You have an Azure subscription that contains an Azure Key Vault named Vault1 and a virtual machine named VM1. VM1 is connected to a virtual network named VNet1. You need to allow access to Vault1 only from VM1. What should you do in the networking settings of Vault1? Option A. From the Firewalls and Virtual Networks tab, add the IP address of VM1. Option B. From the Private Endpoint Connections tab, create a private endpoint for VM1. Option C. From the Firewalls and Virtual Networks tab, add VNet1. Option D. From the Firewalls and Virtual Networks tab, set Allow Trusted Microsoft Services to bypass this firewall to Yes for Vault1. The answer is option A. To allow access to Vault1 only from VM1, you should add the IP address of VM1 in the Firewalls and Virtual Networks tab of Vault1. This restricts access only to the specific IP address assigned to VM1, ensuring no other machines have access, which fulfills the requirement of allowing access solely from VM1. Question 3. You onboard Azure Sentinel. You connect Azure Sentinel to Azure Security Center. You need to automate the mitigation of incidents in Azure Sentinel. The solution must minimize administrative effort. What should you create? Option A, an alert rule. Option B, a playbook. Option C, a function app. Option D, a runbook. The answer is option B. To automate the mitigation of incidents in Azure Sentinel and minimize administrative effort, you should create a playbook. A playbook in Azure Sentinel automates and orchestrates your response to incidents. It can be triggered automatically when specific alerts or incidents are generated, allowing for streamlined and automatic incident response processes. Question 4. Your company has an Azure subscription named Sub1. You plan to create several security alerts by using Azure Monitor. You need to prepare Sub1 for the alerts. What should you create first? Option A, an Azure Automation account. Option B, an Azure Event Hub. Option C, an Azure Log Analytics workspace. Option D, an Azure Storage account. The answer is option C. To create security alerts using Azure Monitor, you need a central location where the monitoring data can be collected, analyzed, and queried. An Azure Log Analytics workspace is the service that provides these capabilities. It collects and organizes the data from various Azure resources, and Azure Monitor uses this data to generate alerts. Therefore, setting up an Azure Log Analytics workspace is the necessary first step to prepare for creating security alerts. Question 5. You have an Azure subscription that uses Microsoft Defender for Cloud. You need to add a custom security recommendation to Defender for Cloud. The recommendation must be assigned the custom severity rating of the subscription. What should you create? Option A, an exemption. Option B, an initiative definition. Option C, a policy definition. Option D, an assignment. The answer is option C. To add a custom security recommendation in Microsoft Defender for Cloud and assign it a custom severity rating, you need to create a policy definition. A policy definition in Azure Policy defines the conditions under which a recommendation is created and allows you to specify the severity and other details for the security recommendation. That's all for today's video. Don't forget to check out our website where you can find more questions for this exam. The link will be in the description. Thank you for watching and good luck on your exams.